What's going on, YouTube? Bonjour. I'm in Montreal, Canada, doing some business. I'll let you guys check out my French TV station here. Pull back. This little TV station in French, whatever. Montreal is a cool place because it's like Quebec City. For those of you who haven't went to the French side of Canada, Quebec City is like if you go there, the people are like, if you ask them, you say, "Hey, I don't speak English. I don't speak French." They get upset if they have to speak English to you because they take such a pride in their language. Where in Montreal, you have a person that's speaking French to you and say, "Hey, I don't speak French," and boom, they just switch to English. And I think that's so cool they're able to do that. I just want to talk about. I saw an article here, and basically it was it was these Canadian guys. And keep in mind, I usually try to keep my topics on finance, but sometimes I think I have to branch off and do a little something different. And what I'm going to talk about now is actually something that I can later tie into finance because I think it's something that needs to be talked about. But anyways, what happened was these guys, these three Caucasian guys, they say, because there's two sides to every story, yelled some racial slurs to this black guy. So they get out of the truck, and all of a sudden a fight breaks out. And then, everyone's worried because they say usually racism only exists in the States. But I wanted to just talk a little bit of why I think actual racism exists. Give you an example. There's been times that I've came across white males. And a lot of the guys, what they would do is, like let's say for instance we're doing a meeting for the first time. They would give them a handshake. Just like a regular, how are you doing handshake. But some guys will give me the soul shake. And they get into all this jazz, right? And I get confused because I ask myself the question, if I was a guy that looked like you, or maybe was the same color, same background, whatever, would you give me the soul shake? And I think that's one part that makes the meeting uncomfortable. And this is why I think, okay, I'll stay on this for a second. Because when he had to give me the soul shake, first of all, I was thrown back because I thought this guy was just giving me a regular handshake. So I thought this guy was changing because he felt like he wanted to make me comfortable. And that's a kind gesture. But at the same time, I would have loved it if he would have just remained himself. And the reason why I said it is because if you look at racism, or not just racism, racist. Let's look at for instance, in some places you have Chinatowns. And it's interesting how Chinatown even exists because when the Chinese were brought over for the gold rush, and they were, workers at the time, they tried to acquire land and things of this nature, and they weren't allowed to. So they went to places like San Francisco, New York, and they created like Chinatowns, and they pooled their money together, and they lived within the community of each other. But a lot of people still to this day practice that. And the reason why is because a lot of people love to be in their comfort zone. And I have a problem with that. Because here's the deal. If you find let's take the comfort zone and let's put it in life for a second. If you're a person that lives in your comfort zone, you're a person that's walking through life like this. Oh, what's that? Oh, what's that? Oh, what's that? You're constantly checking and moving real slowly through life because you're trying to always think comfort. But if you're a person that wants to succeed in life, right, you're always going to be walking. Things are going to be flying past you and all you're doing is reacting. But you're still walking. And in that life, to me, the second part of that, the second life that I just described is the most fulfilling. I've talked to a lot of people, they say, I don't eat curry. And that's fine. But then I asked the $1 million question. Have you ever tasted it? No, never tasted this. It looks like one of those things I don't like. Comfort zone. Right? Some people say, like, you ask your question, have you ever had a person of a different race in your home eating across the table from you? Some people have it still to this day, 2009. But then you ask yourself the question, if they came, would you be comfortable? See, a lot of times people think that, racism and getting to know others is something that just stops immediately. No, it takes change. It takes effort. And the only way you're going to get to know another group is talk to the other group. Ask them a question. Get to know them. Have dinners. Invite them over. Because once you get into this sharing of the cultures and sharing ideas, what you have is a more wide range of ideas. Like, for instance, when I was in school and I studied international business, one thing they said, though, is it's great to have a diverse workforce in your business. Because when you have a diverse workforce in your business, you have a lot of ideas that are coming in from all different directions. Things you would have never thought about in millions of years now are being brought in because of the person's background, what they've experienced, things that they've had in life. So diversity, in myself, is a test from God. And for those of you who don't believe in God, let's just change it. Maybe let's not say God. Let's say it's a test of the world, because we have different cultures. We have different music we listen to. We have different experiences. We go through life different, And this is a learning phase. And those who reject it by what's so-called ignorant racism, lack of understanding with racism, they miss out. There's a lot of people say, oh, I don't like black people. A lot of black people, I don't like white people. But if these type of people, when you put them, if you were at a video camera and you were watching from afar, you would see the nervousness when they would talk. Because that person is constantly seeking being comfortable all the time, And it's amazing. One thing I like about Montreal, man, is that this city right here, well, they say Toronto is the most diverse place on the world, on the planet. But some people in Montreal have asked you about that. They actually disagree. They think that Montreal can give Toronto a run for his money. Because here, man, it's like the French, you got your white, your black, your Chinese. Everybody just like melts. And when you go down the street, you just see all these different groups just hanging together and just talking and learning and exchanging ideas. And I see it's a beautiful thing. Even when kids play, guys, we lose this as human beings. When kids play, they don't see color. They just see innocence in the person, and they see that's a person I want to have fun with. And we as adults, when we get in our environments and we go through these things, we lose out. So I'm not going to talk too long, but my next topic, the subject of racism, is how people use racism as a tool for money. And what I mean by that is, you have some black people say, oh, the man is holding me back. Then you have white people say, I can get a job I want because of affirmative action. So I'm going to touch a topic that may be a little risque for some people. But hey, I think we all need to talk about it. I'm not afraid to talk about it. So, okay, until next time, guys, take care.